All right, today's video is going to be all about the wood because I really like the sort of vintage, kind of rustic look that it adds to a pocket knife. So I'm going to show you 7 of my favorite fidget knives with wooden scales. Hey, how you doing? If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Jay. Go ahead and consider clicking on that subscribe if you're looking for knife reviews that get right to the point. As usual, links, coupon codes, and even the prices will all be listed down in the description. Very similar to the way that like the Rockwell hardness is tested for different types of steel. Yeah, there's also a machine that tests the density of different kinds of wood. And basically what it does is there's a steel ball. It just kind of impacts it into the wood. And then a numerical value, so a rating, is assigned to it just based on how deep that ball goes into the wood. Let's go ahead and get started with number 7. How about from Benchmade? This is the North Fork. This is pretty much like a mini version of the Grizzly Creek, but with one major difference, and that is, yeah, this does not have that gut hook on it. Now, Benchmade uses kind of like a composite wood material that's called diamond wood. At just under 3 inches, this blade, it's much shorter than the one on the Grizzly Creek, which is why if you take a close look at that recurve edge, you can see it is much more pronounced because it's, well, they had to do it in such a, smaller area. And this is a great alternative to like the mini Griptilian because you can see overall the North Fork is just slightly larger. So let me show you with my medium size hand. Yeah, I can just fit all of my fingers there on the handle, which I like. The action, that's going to be typical, Benchmade action using that axis lock. Number 6, this knife is actually considered to be like the larger version of the North Fork. It is the Benchmade Grizzly Creek. Now, this was actually one of the very first Benchmades that I ever bought, and I'll show you why, because I really like the added utility of having that gut hook. I found that this is just such a great little useful tool, and a lot of times, let's see if I can demonstrate it for you. Yeah, I'll like to go ahead and use it when I'm opening like taped boxes. That way I don't have to worry about getting like any of that sticky stuff on my blade. Oh, and for clam packs, I don't have any clam packs handy, but this is great for opening clam packs. All you do is you just you poke a little bit of a hole in it, and then you're able to cut out the item without damaging what's inside. I kind of modified, you see that? Yeah, I modified mine just so I could get like some more uses out of it because, well, if you couldn't already tell, I'm not really a hunter. But now, after doing this modification on that gut hook, you can see I now have I created a flat edge that I've used to do it's great to do some light prying. I've even used this for doing some scraping, and it's even good for unscrewing flathead screws. And of course, yeah, that action. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But I did have to go ahead and I added a little bit. I had to add some Loctite to the pivot. Number 5, how about from Savey? It's the Elementum. Now, this is available in 2 different types of wood. The ebony wood that you see here, or it's also in a Guibourtia, which is commonly known, you're probably more familiar of it, as being called Bobinga. I really like how the ebony wood looks on here, but you can see it is a very, very smooth material. So there is pretty much zero traction. And I've said before that usually any Elementum that I've tried, the micarta has always had the best action. But with this one, yeah, this one is, it's actually pretty good. Number 4, It's going to be another Savey. Yeah, that's the insight. And just like the Elementum, this is also available in either the Ebony or Guibourtia wood. Now, I know I'm probably lighting a fire in the comments with what I'm about to say here, but I think that this knife has arguably the best looking blade of any Savey knife out there. But hey, I would love to know, what do you think? Unlike the Elementum, these ebony wood scales here actually do have, they have a really good amount of traction. They provide some pretty good grip. Now, how awesome would that be though if this knife, if it also had, the flipper and thumb studs? Number 3, how about from QSP? That's the Hawk. These scales are made out of Vera wood, which comes from a genus of flowering plants that's known as Bolnesia, which is going to be found like in South America. It's this medium-sized knife because of the multiple deployment options. You got the flipper and the thumb studs, ceramic ball bearing pivot. So of course, it's got incredible drop shut action. Now, even though this is slightly larger than the Elementum, let me go ahead and grab it. So it's going to be slightly larger than the Elementum, but I think the Hawk, it was made by QSP to really be kind of a direct competitor with Savey, especially now with the release of the more affordable Sandvik steel and micarta versions. Now, if you are considering picking up one of these, make sure you go over to White Mountain Knives. You can use my coupon code LeftyLove, 2 words, all lowercase, and that'll save you 10%. Really quick, if you're liking the video so far, go ahead and just let me know by leaving a thumbs up. Maybe I should have just called this list like my favorite Savey knives with wooden scales, because sitting at number 2 is the Riffle. This uses sandalwood for the handle scales, which is going to be typically found in, just to name a few, like Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Australia, and some other, Hawaii, and even some other Pacific islands. It's going to be like it's a fine grained wood that is, it's supposed to retain its fragrance for a very long time, even though these scales, let me smell it. Nope. No, there's no scent coming off these guys. Sandalwood is also considered to be like one of the most expensive woods in the world because it's harvested for like use as an essential oil. I wasn't always like a big fan of Damascus, but I got to tell you, I think that the pattern here on this Riffle, I think might be my new favorite because it has a very dark kind of finish to it. I mean, just look at it next to the Damascus on the Praxis. I mean, they are just way different, 2 totally different shades. I went and added, you can see this kind of gold colored quick thumb stud to it because I did that to sort of fill in that space that's left over from this oversized thumb hole area. And it also, it makes it way easier for me to flick open. And this handle is going to be long enough to, it should accommodate like a bunch of different hand sizes. And now that I'm looking at it, check it out next to the, you see it next to the Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter. Very similar looking handle shapes. I really like how this knife kind of carries in pocket because do you notice it's narrow as it should be. It's narrow at the top, then it gets wider towards the bottom. I like that. All right, you ready to see number 1? It's going to be a Benchmade. Yep, that is the mini Crooked River. Just like the Grizzly Creek, this uses the very same composite wood, diamond wood. This really is one of like my all-time favorite Benchmade knives. I mean, when the full version came out, I'm telling you, I almost convinced myself that a 4-inch blade was was practical, even though I would just look ridiculous carrying something that large. But that's another story. Yeah, the action has always been great. And this is one of the few Benchmades where I never had any problems with the pivot screw loosening. Up on the screen now is going to be a video that I personally picked out for you to go ahead and watch next. And now don't forget to go ahead and click on that subscribe. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I got to run, and I will see you at the next video. See you guys.